What's up, everybody? We are the Supernaturals, Jake and Cal.
I'm Cal. Wait.
What?
Wait, what?
What?
Just
Pause?
kidding.
Just want to start this
Can't
episode
sit
by
high
going
enough to be Cal.
in your head,
Dude, you're like way up here.
in your head.
Is this what it feels like to be huge?
Zombie, zombie, zombie. Hey, hey. You ever seen that shit from The Office?
I honestly like the song too.
But
The Cranberries Jam, bro.
Thank you, Cranberries, for leading us into today's episode where we're going to talk about the history of zombies.
True. Should I go no gap? God, dude, I keep hitting this goddamn light.
Stop fucking around with your fucking hat and shit. You're fine.
Sorry. Fuck. You know, they also had another great song in another famous movie.
Did they?
Yeah.
Really? What is it?
Have you seen Click?
Yeah, a long time ago. That's the Adam Sandler feature where he has the remote and pauses and shit.
Yeah.
And
so
he finds
him
it
and his
in
wife's
Bed Bath
song
and
is a
Beyond or
Cranberry
something.
song.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Can I
don't know the
remember the
movie that.
name of the song? No, but
I don't know that.
it starts with an L. I know it.
Lick it up.
No. I'm just gonna look it up.
Look it up.
Well, zombies.
So,
huh?
Yeah, we're going to talk about
Crazy.
zombies. I just want to point out too. So, obviously, if you guys know horror, I mean, well, even if you don't know horror, I'm pretty sure everybody who's
Linger.
anybody. Okay, pretty sure anybody who's anybody.
Yeah, just skip over me. Fucking.
What the fuck?
I'm just kidding.
Why don't we linger back to the episode, Jake?
Hey, well, chill out.
Um,
We haven't even described the lights. Like, dude, not everyone watches the video.
We don't have to describe the lights, I think, for this one. It's just like a rotting flesh color. It's kind of, I don't know, it's orange. I was thinking The Walking Dead when I thought of it. You know, it's kind of like a brownish orange title. You know, I don't know. So that's
We don't have to describe it for audio listeners. Fuck them, dude.
that's not.
That's how it came off.
Why don't we describe our shirts and shit too? Why don't we just, you know?
I'm wearing blue.
I don't care. All right. Anyway, yeah. So I'm pretty sure if you don't know who or what, if you're fucking me up today, I'm pretty sure that even if you don't like
Payback's a
horror
bitch.
stuff, shut the fuck up. Okay. I'm pretty sure if you don't know horror, you still know what a zombie is.
Facts.
And so today we're going to talk about zombies from their interesting and strange origins,
True.
real world origins, not fake. And then we're going to move to how they became such a big deal in pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. So if you like zombies,
True.
this is the Supernaturals zombie special. Rawr.
I wouldn't call it a special, but yeah,
I mean, I don't know, dude. People like zombies, man.
It's
I
true.
used to
I'm not saying people don't like zombies. I'm just saying it's.
I used to freaking love zombies, man. I mean, it's just, if we're talking
Were you
horror,
now like a more vampire werewolf guy, or
you know, honestly, low key, yeah.
yeah.
Currently reading Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. Well, I read the first one. Now I'm on the second one, Empire of the Damned. It's very good, very, very good book series.
Check it out. Maybe.
Yeah, if you like kind of dark fantasy and shit, that is my shit. So go read those if you like that. Big ass books, awesome. Keeps you entertained for hours. It's great. So yeah, I would say I'm more of a vampire guy, but I used to be a zombie guy. I don't know. I really liked.
Zombies kind of fallen off though recently.
They have.
I feel
They have. They had a
good run.
They had a good run.
They had a good run.
But it's not like it's over completely. I mean, I know.
I mean, they're definitely still around. You see them everywhere. There's still like zombie crawls.
We're
like,
going to talk
you know?
about the zombie or the future of zombies in pop culture because there are some pretty exciting things coming out.
True. Very true.
Some pretty exciting stuff. So that'll be fun. But yeah. I think really to get to
let's go. We got to go way back.
The meat and potatoes of zombies.
We got to go way back.
Got to go way back to when they weren't not the flesh-eating, rotting corpses that we know them as today.
Very true.
It was something a lot more dark and mysterious.
Dum, dum, dum.
So I'm going to read a little thing here. Some shit I put together. Jake doesn't really know a lot about this, so I'm going to...
I don't know about the origin, but I definitely know about the pop culture.
Well, yeah, the pop culture he is. But this...
I did a little research so I'd be aware of what was going on.
Yeah. But check this shit out. All right.
Check it out.
So, zombies.
Sure, brother, check it out now.
Zombies are pretty huge in today's world, taking shapes in many different forms: running, walking, talking, groaning, you name it.
Talking?
Yes, there are zombie movies where they talk. But one thing remains the same. They are beings that have risen from the dead due to a virus and look to feast on live human beings. Zombies have become a massive staple in pop culture thanks to films like Night of the Living Dead, which we'll talk about later, video games like Call of Duty, and shows like The Walking Dead. One can argue that zombies have come a long way in terms of horror. They went from small monsters to having their own legit subgenre in horror.
Mm-hmm.
But where did the idea of these flesh-eating monstrosities come from? Well, believe it or not, they actually stem all the way back to the 17th century. And in Haiti, West African slaves were unfortunately put to horrible working conditions, some to the point where they believed that if they committed suicide, they would return to their homeland. But somehow, a myth began where it was said that if you killed yourself, you wouldn't be returned to your homeland, but rather be cursed to live and roam as an undead being forced to work forever. It eventually became known that the ones who said this, often slaves themselves, used the fear of zombies to stop others from committing suicide. This changed as zombies became a part of Voodoo traditions. The word zombie itself can actually be traced to its origins, in which the word means, quote, a connection through gods, ghosts, and souls, end quote. In these traditions, people would be brought back to life by a witch or sorcerer. The zombie would be forced to live as a personal slave, having no mind of its own, to the one who revived them. Apparently, the one way to save a zombie from its infinite curse was to feed them mountains of salt.
Mountains of salt. Interesting.
Pretty crazy. So what do you think of that first?
Honestly, I don't know why my mind is going back to Jeffrey Dahmer's zombie-like state mentality, dude.
He was trying to do...
It's crazy.
Pretty much that.
Right? Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like make them his slave because they have no will.
Yeah.
Right? It's crazy.
That was the original... Like what a zombie was essentially like, what would you call them now? I guess thralls. Like you could call it thralls or whatever, like in the fantasy land, right? Like it's your personal slave that's bound to you by like something, and
it just follows every command.
Pretty much. So that's the idea of a zombie is definitely shifted from that. That's
completely.
But imagine if we did live in a world. I mean, who knows if it's real or fake? I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
That kind of culture and stuff. But
now they're supposed to be untamed.
Well, imagine if they had that, like if the world was really like that was a common thing, right? You would have witches and sorcerers and
it's
doing all this crazy magic and bringing people back and being a slave to them and stuff. It's like, that's so crazy.
You know what else is kind of mind blowing to me is the fact that they struck fear within people not to commit suicide due to the fact that they could be cursed to roam the earth.
Yeah.
As undead. Like, I wonder if that actually worked.
Well, it definitely said that it stopped the like the rise in suicide rates for
interesting.
For and it's one thing that I was thinking about, and I you know, this is going to be dark, but I was thinking about before I found out that it was the fellow slaves that were saying it's, you know, you're going to be pretty much a slave forever if you commit suicide. I was thinking it was like probably the slave owners, right?
That said that?
Yeah. That's in my head. I'm like, okay, that's probably what happened. But now, you know, after reading that it was usually the slaves themselves that were saying that, I think maybe, you know, this is just complete speculation, have no idea, just my theory. But what if the slave owners like enlisted the help of certain slaves and gave them like things in return for making sure that like it was known that, like, you know what I mean? That like you couldn't do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I could totally see that. I could totally see that happening. So
it's an interesting thought.
Yeah. It's crazy. Either way, it's sad.
Wild times. And you said that was back in the 17th century?
17th century, yeah.
Was it just Haiti, or did it spawn there? Or
so the entire like voodoo-ish like culture, I guess, like with the zombies was Haitian.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I know.
Did it stem to other countries around?
Well, I know it did to Louisiana
or religions.
Louisiana is really huge with voodoo and stuff.
Now, is this the voodoo that I think I know, or is this like a different sort of thing of voodoo?
What do you mean?
It's not like a voodoo doll, right? Where you're controlling them like this, or like puppet mastery.
That's voodoo. That's the same like thing.
But it doesn't seem like it's controlling them with some sort of, I get it's witchcraft, but when did like the doll like of it come into play, I guess?
Well, I didn't look up voodoo dolls, but I do know that like it's the same kind of like that is you can control somebody's body. Being a zombie is controlling somebody's mind.
Fair. Okay.
So it is two different things there, you know. But
it's just it's really interesting.
It is interesting completely. It's fascinating for sure to see a culture kind of stemmed on that, or I guess a practice, or you could even probably call it a religion. Like it's crazy. It is crazy. So, in my research, I found out there is another zombie practice in the voodoo tradition, but this one is actually less physical. It is known as the astral zombie, and in this practice it was believed that a witch could capture a human soul, bottle it, and then sell it to a client for good luck and or healing powers.
Really?
Yeah. So kind of cool.
How does one capture a soul?
You would have to ask a voodoo lady.
I want to know. I do want to know. if any of you guys know a specialist in this genre of ideology, let us know, because I'm so genuinely curious.
It's pretty cool.
Because if someone believes that, like, there's got to be a method.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Here you go fidgeting again.
Well, I fucking hit the mic, sorry.
Every time I edit the videos, I'm like, how you mess with your mic so much?
I'm sorry. It is what it is.
Anyway, but like, let us know.
Yeah, definitely let us know, because, you know, please also don't capture my soul. That'd be sick. Thanks. I really appreciate it.
Please leave my soul in my body.
Yeah, be sick. So then the United States actually occupied Haiti in 1915, and they discovered that the Haitian Criminal Code, which is essentially their like book of laws, they actually recognize zombies as existing beings. And here's an actual, I guess, piece of the law that says that. So, quote, also shall be qualified as attempted murder the employment which may be made by any person of substances which, without causing actual death, produce a lethargic coma more or less prolonged. If, after the administering of such substances, the person has been buried, the act shall be considered murder, no matter what result follows. End quote.
So regardless, it's murder.
Pretty much. If you make somebody a zombie, takeaway, yeah. You know, it is murder.
Once again, going back to Jeffrey Dahmer, he's fucking trying to drill holes in motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he killed people because of it.
Yeah, he did.
So I can get behind that statement.
Yeah.
I can.
Well, that was a law, dude. Like, imagine if we had a law that was like, I don't even know. What would a law be like talking about zombies and shit? I mean, I guess the zombie is different.
Shall not zombify another.
Yeah, something like that. But
otherwise, punishable by death. I don't know.
You know, I guess I'll get to this.
Punishable later. By also becoming a zombie.
I'll get to this later, but so basically in the years that followed, researchers from all over, like in
everywhere,
America, whatever,
yeah.
They tried to find the source of this voodoo magic, which put people in a zombie-like state. Some actually witnessed the ritual and were pretty bewildered by it. the most likely theory is that the ritual included some sort of psychoactive drug that was unknown to the rest of the world. To this day, we are actually still unaware of what it was.
Interesting.
But one thing is for certain, the idea has created some of the most famous devices used in the horror genre. Enter George A. Romero.
R.I.P.
Yeah. So that's pretty crazy, though, the fact that we still don't know what it is. Like what
I know.
caused that.
Well, yeah, because I mean, the whole idea behind a zombie has changed so dramatically that it's almost the origins kind of lost.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, there's still history, but like what an average day-to-day person thinks about a zombie is not what it used to be.
Not at all. No. And like I said, that whole idea has actually shifted into being like a thrall, right? In like a fantasy genre, because it's literally you're just a slave to somebody else, like the person who cast the spell on you or whatever. And so that being...
And are you actually dead or are you just under witchcraft?
Well, they say that you can do that to somebody who is dead, and then you rise back from the dead, and then you have to live the rest of eternity
under that person,
under that spell, unless you're given a bunch of salt. So
interesting. Yeah, it's just such a crazy thing.
Yeah, it is wild.
But now,
so
zombies are not that to the normal person.
So back in 1968, I think
it was 68. Yeah. Well,
what?
32 was the first zombie movie.
Yeah, but that was about
it was about the old style,
the Voodoo and all that. So,
but similar.
Yeah, we could talk about it. There was a
1932 movie.
Yeah, there was a movie. What was it called?
The White Zombie.
Yeah, and it was essentially just about that,
bringing back someone from the dead.
Yeah, but it wasn't the zombies that we know them today. So that started 1968 with George A. Romero's classic Night of the Living Dead. And Night of the Living Dead was, black and white, and they had, these people that, they rose from the dead, and they were just... The movie, though, themselves, like, they called them ghouls. They didn't call them zombies. And George A. Romero actually said that they weren't supposed to be zombies. It was kind of like...
Just kind of morphed into it?
Yeah, so I couldn't find... From what I found, it seems like the ghouls was his idea. How they, eat people and, they feast on their flesh and stuff. It's like that idea was George A. Romero's, for as far as I could tell. But he called them ghouls. They weren't zombies. And then after the movie premiered, all of the fans coined those as zombies instead of ghouls. They called them zombies. And so then he released the sequel Dawn of the Dead, which came out, I think, in the 80s. It was a while after Night of the Living Dead. And
this was a trilogy series, though, correct?
I think so.
I thought it was.
If there's a...
And then I think he had another trilogy series. I think there is a third movie.
I don't know if there's a third movie. If there is, I haven't watched it or seen it or whatever.
I could have swore there was.
Dawn of the Dead was remade by Zack Snyder back in like 2010,
right,
or something. And that one's actually pretty good. But I know George A. Romero, then he came out with a bunch of other zombie movies that, like, they were talking and things like that, and it just wasn't. They weren't very good. They weren't.
They weren't his staple of changing a zombie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, dude. George A. Romero is like, he's the zombie guy. Like, he's the guy who made
image
zombies.
of zombie.
That is how it... The zombies we know today...
I mean, shit, he was in a video game.
We'll get there. So basically, yeah. So the fans of Night of the Living Dead coined those as zombies. And in the second movie, Dawn of the Dead, he actually said in an interview, he said the word zombie. And then people were like, oh shit, so they are zombies, oh wow, that's so cool. And then in the Dawn of the Dead movie, one of the guys does say zombie, just says it one time. And that's it. So then those things became known as zombies from that day forward. And yeah, we have gotten so much shit. So much shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really incredible. So the cool thing is how, zombies have evolved so much over time. I mean, what was the first zombie thing that you can think of?
The first one I think of?
Yeah.
The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead?
The Walking Dead.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously.
Or, Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, you can do Shaun of the Dead, but I didn't see Shaun of the Dead before The Walking Dead.
Horror-esque The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. My dad will tell you too. I think it was. All right. So I'm like, one of my best friends is his brother, Jake's brother. And I used to hang out with him like every day. Shout out Josh. And fucking, I remember coming over one time and I think it was Lonnie.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
And you guys were playing Call of Duty World at War Zombies.
Right.
On the old 360. And I remember seeing this, and for some unknown reason, I was so into it. I was like, I could have sat down there and watched you guys play that shit for hours.
Dude, there's something to be said about a round-based zombies game that is just so addicting.
I know. So I was super into it. And then all of a sudden, I go home and I started drawing zombies. I just got like obsessed with zombies. And my dad was even like,
is he okay?
Yeah, he did. He tells me now, he's like, I remember when you were super obsessed with zombies and I was like, is this kid all right? I'm like, I don't know. And then he goes, I kid you not though. You're sitting here talking about, oh, there's zombies and all this. And then, a couple months later, The Walking Dead comes out and zombies are everywhere. Like people got obsessed how I was a couple months before that with zombies.
I just was drawing dicks, man.
It was cool though. I loved The Walking Dead. I used to watch the shit out of that.
Dude, it was such a good show for so long, and then it just started declining.
Yeah.
Really fast.
Yeah. Well, I watched it up until Rick left. Oh. Spoilers for any zombie shit that we talk about. Spoiler! So, yeah, I watched it up until Rick left. And then I found out they had a Daryl spinoff. They had...
Oh, yeah, a lot of things spawned from it.
Fear the Walking Dead. They had...
Which, not for me.
The new Rick and Michonne show I heard was actually good. And then, I don't know, so much of shit spawned off of it that I haven't seen. So, but I heard it's good.
They brought in Negan, right?
Yeah, that was fun.
One of the best villains of the show.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan killed that shit.
But his storyline was drawn way too far out, I thought.
Yeah, they should have just killed his ass.
Yeah.
Now I think he has his own spin-off with Maggie or something, and I'm just like, bro, like, she's got to kill your ass. Like, how has that not happened yet?
Literally. And you can't go wrong with the fan favorite Glenn. Come on.
Bro, R.I.P. Glenn.
R.I.P.
Oh God.
What a character, though. The show was written really well.
I read the comics. And before that, yeah. So I realized, or in my research, I found out, okay, like, or, my obsessiveness over zombies. I found out that
every time you say that, I just can't stop thinking about Superbad.
I'm not to tell you. I didn't draw dicks. I drew zombies. So, but yeah, I basically. Fuck.
Sorry. All right. I'm throwing you off a lot. Get it back.
Fuck.
You can do it.
Oh yeah, the comics. Okay.
Yeah.
So I started reading the comics of the Walking Dead before the whole Glenn thing, and they were fucked up. I mean, there was a lot of differences between, the show and the comics. And then all of a sudden it was like, I found out, okay, Negan is supposed to be in this upcoming season. And I remember I've read through the comics of that storyline where Glenn gets bashed his fucking head in. And then I was like, damn, that would really suck if like that happened to Glenn. And I remember watching that episode and he's talking shit. And then that Abraham dude, the red haired dude, he beats the shit out of him first. And then you're just like, oh, Like, I mean, I liked Abraham, but I'm like, at least it's not Glenn, right? So I guess they're taking the little different route. And then all of a sudden he's just like, yeah, okay. And then fucking just swing like such a fucking asshole move by the showrunners. I was like, God damn. I do think that kind of sucks for Abraham and his character though, because Glenn's death completely overshadows Abraham's death in that, you know?
It does.
Yeah.
It is really sad to watch. And dude, it's crazy. I didn't realize so much of this stemmed from comics and old books. It's just kind of coming to fruition of like old school being put into TV shows and movies nowadays. It's just such a shift that I honestly, as a like TV lover and a movie lover, I visually love enjoying cinema. So I'm a fan of everyone bringing books and comics to life.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think some of the
if
books,
it's done really well, like
I agree.
Obviously it can be butchered, and fans will bash it to the day they die.
Yeah. Okay. I might get a lot of heat for this, but so I actually like that movies are different than books sometimes because
someone else's take.
It's a different take on that same storyline. It's like, okay, so when you tell a story, like to some, like if I tell a story to you
the exact same way,
I'm going to have my own version of that story than somebody else's.
100%.
And so if you know like the basic plots and stuff, I mean, if you completely change a plot line, then like
that's different though. Than
you could get pissed because some people could really like that plot line and want to see it played out in live action or something. Sure. But I just think that honestly, if I read through the book, I've already seen that. I've already saw that. Like I've already
visually created it in your head.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's like, I don't want to see the exact same thing that I've already seen play out on live action. To me, it's like, I'm okay with seeing a different version of that.
It's kind of why I like remakes sometimes because other directors come in and they go, oh, I love this story. Yeah. Here's my version. Yeah. And I like that a lot. You good?
Yeah. Drinking a lot of brewskis.
It's true.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think a lot of people hate The Witcher. Like a lot of people hate what The Witcher show has done.
I liked the first season.
I thoroughly do enjoy the show.
But I stopped watching.
Kill me. No,
I stopped watching the second season. It just didn't draw me in like it did the first.
I actually liked the second season better than the first one. The first one was all over the place for me, but I don't know. I think there's just like, there's characters and things that, you know, they act different, you know, maybe in the show than they do in the books, and that can piss people off. And
sure,
I fully understand why people get upset. I do. Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying I do like another take on the same story, maybe in the same world. And yeah, if it doesn't live up to the books, you do always have the books.
Sure.
You can always just go back and just read the books. Mm-hmm. You can, you know, maybe try to accept the new show or the movie or whatever. Right. There's this movie that came out called Chaos Walking. It was with Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley. I'll watch it because I fucking love Daisy Ridley. She's definitely a fanboy over Daisy Ridley all the time. And so I watched it, and the whole aspect of the movie was super cool. It was about, you know, they're on like this planet, and men's thoughts can be seen, like they're visualized outside of their head. And there's like no women on the planet, and then she like crash lands, and then it's Tom Holland and her, and they have to like escape like a bunch of like dudes.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I haven't even heard of it, let alone seen it.
I have it. So I watched the movie and I was like, movie wasn't that bad. I genuinely was like, fuck it. I mean, I did
and what
watch
was that movie called again?
Chaos Walking.
Okay.
And so I watched that shit like back in 2020. And I know a lot of people didn't like it either. A lot of people didn't like it either. I know a lot of people were like, this movie fucking sucks. I'm like, I know it went through a bunch of reshoots and went through all that stuff, but
really
just as like a night, just like chilling, you know, and you just throw on a movie. It's good.
Entertaining.
Yeah, it's worth it. But then it led me to, because I heard they weren't going to do a second one because it like didn't do well. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I kind of want to read the books. I'm happy I didn't read the books before I watched the movie because I would have been pissed. It was the only thing that they took was literally the names of the characters and the idea of the they call it the noise, but the voice outside the head.
Interesting.
I swear to God, every plot point was so different. It was not even close to being the same movie. And so I was like, yeah, if I did read the books, I probably would have been pissed and been like, what is this shit? But I don't know. Now that I've read the whole series, I'm like,
well, you know what I also kind of found out when I was doing my little bit of research is that I Am Legend was actually a book. I did not know that.
Honest to God, dude, the majority of shit that you watch is probably a book.
Yeah, probably. You're right.
It's probably a book or some form of literature.
I Am Legend is interesting, though, because it was a take on a zombie, but yet it wasn't your typical zombie.
I think they call them vampires.
Well, obviously.
Because they're in the dark and shit.
They are in the dark and the sun hurts their skin, but they looked zombie-esque. Did they not?
No, I agree. I definitely thought they were zombies.
They're
but
like
I
a
think
mixture of both of them. It's interesting.
Hang on. Okay, keep talking. Keep talking. Because I'm just going to see really quick.
Sure. I just thought the character design was just so interesting because it had like attributes of a vampire, but looked exactly like you would think a like flesh-eating zombie would look like.
They are in fact vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but they don't look that way.
They're like zombified vampires.
Yeah.
What's crazy about I Am Legend though is that they're coming out with a second one, and I don't know if you know, but they have an alternate ending.
I've seen the alternate ending.
Yeah, and so that's the one where he doesn't die.
Spoiler.
Yeah. And all of a sudden I found out that they're using the alternate ending
to continue the story. Yeah,
which is
I saw that too.
So many people probably who don't know that are going to be like, Will Smith is back? Like, didn't he die? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan's going to be in that too.
I heard that as well. Yeah. I just found it interesting that they were making a second one.
Yeah.
I think some movies, you know, should just be left untouched. In my opinion. Like,
no, I agree.
It was a great ending. Whatever. I mean, some of the characters still got out. He sacrificed for the greater good. Yeah. And, you know, that was a great ending.
Dog scene.
Oh, so sad.
It's one of the saddest scenes in fucking cinema history.
So sad.
Bro.
Well,
fuck that.
You know, zombies were a big thing in horror, right? But, you know, that image shifted a little bit.
It shifted a lot.
When people started making things comical.
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead. You know, we got Zombieland. Like, these are pretty iconic movies that took their twist on zombies and made it funny and entertaining in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. Like, it entertains people. People like to laugh.
Yeah.
And what's more funny than, you know, making fun of things that you can kill, and it's entertaining and funny.
Yeah. I do agree with that. I do think that Zombieland has good scenes of like horror. Like they do have good scenes. Like in the second one, oh my God, I love this. Might be controversial, but I think Zombieland 2 is better than Zombieland 1. I like a lot too. Because Zombieland 1 was, I mean, it was really good, but the second one I had a smile on my face the entire time. Zoe Deutsch's character.
She's so funny.
She's so funny.
Just a ditzy girl, dude.
I know. It's like, how have you lived this long? Like, what the fuck? Yeah. And then the whole, like the Emma Stone being jealous of like him and her hooking up. And that, the one scene that gets me is when, she's like, yeah, and then we like made love in like the thing for like hours, and then fucking Emma Stone is sitting there in the backseat and she goes, I'm so happy for you. That shit's so funny, dude. Yeah, Zombieland is fun. But
comedy movies are they're entertaining. Shaun of the Dead. Yeah. It's also another great example. It's just, you know, really old, dumb humor. And people just went batshit crazy for it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I also went batshit crazy for it because I do love zombies too. Yeah. I don't know why. I'd like the more horror take on zombies. I do think the idea of running zombies is fun. Like World War Z. Yeah. Took like running zombies to like the next level. Well, that was also, I mean, if you do think about it, like people are of all different types of physique. Yeah. So it would only make sense if some were slow and some were fucking quick as shit. Oh, I know, dude. Tyreek Hill. If he's becoming a zombie, everyone's dead, dude. It's game over. You're lost. That thing's spreading like wildfire.
Yeah.
Just be like, oh shit, is that Tyreek Hill? Done.
Take it out. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think I kind of am impartial though on, I like when the Walking Dead, like literally when they're just walking.
Mm-hmm.
I like that because it's kind of just like
just traveling the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just, I mean, you can kill them, but then like they get in those hordes, right? And then
and you're like, don't make noise.
Like, fuck, dude. And then, I don't know. The Walking Dead did a good job with some of the scenes where they had to like cover themselves in blood and like walk through the hordes. Those were always high intensity like situations. But then you have like the opposite side of that spectrum where you got World War Z where the zombies are crawling on each other to get over walls and shit. Like that's fucking insane.
Oh, I know.
So I mean, I don't know.
One thing that I love about this genre is it really gets your mind thinking and thinking hard about what you might do in that situation.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Have you not? I feel like most people have envisioned, all right, if the world ends and there's a zombie apocalypse, how do I survive? So many people think about that.
I think there's I don't know if it's Bumble or Hinge, but they do have a topic where it's like my zombie apocalypse.
Post-apocalypse stuff.
And all these girls are like, I'll just die. I'm like,
not me. I'm fucking
I'm out here like,
up,
I'm strapped, son. Winning this apocalypse.
Getting some guns. I'm loading. I'm going to the mountains. Like,
oh yeah, 100%.
Like it's really fun to think about. I think because, I mean, you don't know, and you might think you're the greatest survivor in history, but can you really survive a zombie apocalypse? Who knows?
I do want to talk about video games for a second because video games are huge with zombies.
Yeah, we can jump there.
Love the zombie video games. So I want you to kind of talk about your zombie video game experience.
Yeah, 1 sec. We're going to take a quick break.
So I want to talk about zombie video games.
Yeah.
Because it is a huge part of, well, video games. We got single players, survival games. We got fucking Minecraft even has zombies in it.
That's true. When we've been playing out of Minecraft lately.
We have
always good and like
co-op multiplayer zombie games, which are always super fun, and arcade shooters and things like that. So you go ahead and talk about your experience with zombie games.
Going back to the
first one.
The first time you watched Lonnie and I play Call of Duty World at War. Great zombies game, by the way. Yeah. Great first introduction to the zombie storyline.
Bro.
That grew very quickly.
Yeah.
But honestly, my first zombie game that I ever played was Left 4 Dead.
Left 4 Dead?
Left 4 Dead.
Mm-hmm.
The very first one.
God, I love Left 4 Dead.
It was, dude, being able to just like select it and be a zombie and go after like the characters.
Oh, in the multiplayer?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun. But the actual storyline of the game was very entertaining, just surviving.
Yeah.
Like that's why zombie games are just so fun, because you're put in those situations now virtually that you can just like live out the zombie survival and see what you can do.
Oh yeah. I did think, well, so the Call of Duty zombies was pretty standard. Like it was more zombies like as you got further and further into the rounds and stuff.
The round based stuff, yeah.
They start running, maybe crawling, they'd be harder to kill. But I think I love like Left 4 Dead and Back 4 Blood, Dead Island, and all those because the zombie variety. You'd have like the base zombies,
right? And
then you would have like, these different zombies, like different mutations, which I personally feel like is more realistic because it's like,
well, of course,
you'd have, people have different DNA. The virus would hit them differently.
And back to the physique thing, like obviously some are going to be, smaller, bigger, children.
Oh yeah,
older people. It's just like,
oh yeah, dude.
This is like everything.
Also, Left 4 Dead with the witch. Fuck that. You hear if you haven't played Left 4 Dead, well, first of all, go play Left 4 Dead. But if you haven't, there was this
good game.
You'd be running through a level and then you'd hear like a girl crying. And if you go towards the crying, there's a girl like hunched over, like crying in her hands. And if you disturbed her, she would come running at you with these like long ass fingers and shit. And she was called the witch. So you didn't want to have to disturb the witch. But that was always fun.
Yeah, it's true. Call of Duty was primarily just like one zombie mold.
Yeah. Well, it was like Nazi zombies. And then now it has gone so fucking off the rails, in my opinion. I'm like, I hope Black Ops 6 brings it back to kind of the roots. But,
well,
Jesus Christ.
One of the best maps that I thought nerding out here a bit in the zombies games, whereas Black Ops 4?
Oh, really?
Black Ops 4, the castle map.
Oh, Dreisendrach or
Dude,
whatever?
one of the best because, dude, doing the Easter egg on that game is so
with
fun.
the bows and stuff.
Oh my God, I love it. I just, you know, I'm a sucker for castles.
I get you. I get you.
I want to go to Ireland and Scotland so fucking bad.
We will. We'll bring you guys with us.
I'm seeing so many videos of Edinburgh. I'm like, how? Fuck. And then I had a dream last night about being there.
We'll go, bro.
But anyway,
is a virtue.
so I'm a sucker for castles. And I just think the map layout, awesome. The aesthetic is awesome.
Yeah.
Everything about it is just well done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still round based, which I love. Because once they got into like the open world stuff, I was like, nah.
Yeah.
It's not really round. And it's just not like the iconic zombies that you thought Treyarch was.
Yeah, it wasn't good. There is something that I'm a massive fan of that we have to talk about, which kind of spawned, honestly, zombies in gaming. Not for us, but for everybody.
And what is that, Cal?
Resident Evil.
That's true.
Resident Evil was the first one, was 90s, late 90s. And also House of the Dead. You know, House of the Dead, like when you go to Dave & Buster's and there's the House of the Dead. Mm-hmm. So those were two of the very first zombie games ever. And then because they were popular.
Or arcade games.
They spun, well, not Resident Evil. That's a solo survival game.
Resident Evil wasn't, but the other one was.
House of the Dead, yeah. You just mow down zombies and stuff the whole time.
It was a really fun game.
It was fun, yeah. Resident Evil is my shit, dude. And I love how it's gone beyond zombies and stuff. It was started out with just like, okay, a virus hit, you know, Raccoon City and stuff, and you had to escape, and it was like puzzly, and then all of a sudden, you know, you get out before they nuke the city, and then you're done. And then Resident Evil as a genre spawned into all these different things. Resident Evil 8 was like super gothic and stuff, dealt with like werewolves and vampires, and Resident Evil 7 was about like these sludge people. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I love Resident Evil, but it definitely spawned a lot of zombie games, which are huge. All the remakes that they've been coming out with, by the way, Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4. Mm-hmm. I know they're working on like 3 more or something like that, but dude, they're so fun. They're so fun. They're completely remaking the game. Well, like you said, you remake stuff and sometimes it's better.
Agreed. I mean, graphics have gotten better. Yeah. Like you can redo a lot of things, right? Yeah. The technology there, you can just do so much more with it than you could 15 years ago, right?
Yeah.
They're making VR games of Resident Evil now.
Yeah, they are. Mm-hmm.
And that's sick.
It is cool.
Like, I mean, we don't own a VR, but
yeah.
They're cool.
They are.
I mean, we did that sandbox VR thing. That was wild. That was really fun. Like a multiplayer VR is really cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Like I can see the future here, right?
Oh yeah, future is crazy.
The future is crazy. But zombies are just such a cool topic. There's just so much around to them that like literally everything around us can be zombie themed.
Yeah, so that's kind of the next thing I wanted to talk about is how they're evolving and how the genre itself is still trying to, you could say, stay relevant, but how it's evolving. So one thing that I've noticed is the virus itself is stemming from real world shit. Mm-hmm. So you can talk about, well, the big one that comes to my head is The Last of Us. It's this fungus, right, that basically creates zombies. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's actually based on a real life fungus, like a real life fungus that
it's so close to realistic.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if you've seen the videos of these like bugs who have the fungus inside of them, but it kills the bug, but the fungus keeps their like motor function going. It really is a zombie. You can have zombie bugs. Like that's a legit thing. There are zombie bugs. Like that's crazy as fuck to me. And who knows? That fungus could evolve one day and affect us. And
right. Yeah.
that's a whole thing. So if I was thinking there was going to be a possibility of zombies, I do think The Last of Us has like the most realistic one. I'm just saying.
Their character design is so sick, though.
With like the fucking shrooms and shit coming out of their head.
And the fact that they're hive mind.
Yeah. No,
Hive mind is such a
hive mind is something else.
Cool topic.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty does hive mind.
Yeah.
It's really
Have
funny.
you seen Army of the Dead?
I haven't.
The Zack Snyder Netflix movie?
I haven't, no.
It's good. And don't come for me, but I liked zombies. I'm
feel
not
like you have a soft spot for Zack Snyder too, though.
Yeah. I mean, I think he has great cinematography.
Yeah. Really good vision.
I know everybody's pissed about his slow-mo shots and stuff, but I honestly think like slow motion. Yeah, he uses a little too much of it. But God, dude, some of his shots are fucking so sick. Like Zack Snyder's Justice League. Superman comes out in his black suit, and it's like kind of like a slow motion shot, and there's like smoke and shit, and his cape is flapping in the back. Like it's just like a straight out of a comic, and I'm just like, I like the slow motion because I just want to look at it for like a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You could think 300 too.
Oh yeah.
You ever seen 300? That's Zack Snyder.
Yep.
Yeah, and
It's
that
true,
shit was fucking awesome. I don't know. I'm a sucker for like badass looking
Fair enough.
cinema.
Yeah.
You know, it just gets me pumped.
You're sitting there in slow mo's around like their face. You're like, yeah, let's
you're
go.
like that's fucking badass. You know, you're just looking at some shit. I don't know.
They like got wind blowing on them and shit. Yeah,
some of his movies are definitely misses for me. I am also kind of pissed that he can't seem to make a good movie without making it like 4 hours long.
Like tell a story in like 2.
Yeah, other people do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need a director's cut for everything. I'm happy that I got one for Justice League because that's actually it was fucking good. But I don't know, whatever. But
It's true. And
I'm not one of the Zack Snyder like fans that are like literally trying to smite the new DC universe because they're just pissed that Zack Snyder didn't get it. It's like, okay, it's over. Like it ran its course. It's done. We're rebooting. Let's move on. You know. But Army of the Dead was good though. I did like it because I like zombies, and it was kind of an interesting take on zombies. There was like a king and a queen zombie, and they had like a love story. They had like a kid and shit.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy.
why?
I think like there's little things. There were like little parts where they would shoot these zombies, and they're like, you'd see like instead of blood and guts and shit like coming out of the head, you'd see like sparks, and like it'd be like a robot face behind it, and you're like, wait, there's like a robot zombie. So then like that hasn't been explained yet. At the beginning of the movie, they're taking the virus somewhere, and you see like 2 little like lights just fly away in the background. So it's like there's UFOs, and then it's like, is this virus from Earth? Is it not? Is it
Interesting?
And then these robot zombies, are they robots or are they fucking like surveillance from like America? Like what the fuck? Like there's just a lot of unanswered questions, but I did like it. I mean, there's some cheesy parts for sure, but
might have to give it a watch.
Do you ever seen Fallout, the show?
Played the games though.
The main girl from Fallout is actually in Army of the Dead. I like her. Yeah, she's got some unique eyes, but she's cute.
Unique eyes.
So, yeah.
I mean, looking at zombies and their influence on us today is a pretty crazy thing just because they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And, it's inspired a lot of things like zombie 5Ks. It looks like a horde of zombies running around because people, go hard and dress up and like get into makeup. And our friends, shout out Danny and Sarah, they've done it a few times. And every time I see pictures or seen their costumes, and it's fucking cool. Yeah.
Haunted houses too. There's a lot of just straight up zombie themed haunted houses. We did one.
Right. Yep.
Please bring it back if you are listening. But
true.
If you can, if you have the power to do so. But City of the Dead,
God, is such
in Colorado was such a good haunted house.
They're like, we're gonna be back, and that was 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, City of the Dead was so good because the whole thing was zombie based, and so sick. There was one spot we were walking through, like, it's all confined and shit, and then you come out, and it's like you're in like there's like a street, and then there's like buildings on both sides of you, and it looks like you're in the middle of like a city, and then you turn and look, and there's like 10 zombies coming at you, and you're like, oh fuck, and you had to like go into it was so cool.
Yeah, zombies in haunted houses are top tier. I like them way better than clowns there for sure.
Yeah, I do think too, the zombie paintball that you can do at like some of the haunted houses. I think that has to be such a cool idea because so many times what I love about zombies and zombie games is I like just shooting them or killing them. So it's like, because, you know, they're not people, right? It's just like something's coming after you and you can just mow them down without any fucking. So then.
I don't think they do the zombie paintball anymore.
Really? I did it once. That was fun.
I mean, I've done it too, but I think that was at the
Field of Screams.
Yeah, and I don't think they do it because I think people are just like, I don't want to get shot with paintball.
Well, they wear those big ass like suits and they just come coming out and then you just fucking.
I mean, you can wear as much layers as you want. You still get shot with a paintball gun.
I mean, facts.
By a lot of people.
Yeah, people are fucking destroying you. Yeah, no, I get it.
Plus, like supplying the paintballs can't be that cheap.
Yeah, no, I understand it. I do think it was fun.
It was a cool idea, though.
Oh my god, I just got reminded of something. Probably the best zombie game I think I've ever played was, you ever played Dying Light?
Mm-mm.
Oh my god, it was first person, and it was from the creators of Dead Island, or like the sub group or something that did, I don't know, but it's not Dead Island. And it was kind of like it, to where you could mod weapons, like you could have like a machete and put like a little flamethrower on it, so then it's like fire damage plus it, you know, that's kind of cool. Yeah. But it was parkour, like first person parkour, so you could like free run like Assassin's Creed, but you're in first person. You could like jump off of shit and then like roll when you like, and then the screen like, you know, does that thing, and it was super fun, like the parkour aspect. And then it had a good story. The first one definitely did. The second one was okay.
And there was a second one?
Yeah. It came out in 2020 or 2021 or something, but it was good. They're coming out with a new DLC. The zombies were cool. I liked it. But then it was called Dying Light because in the nighttime, like at the daytime, zombies are just like walking around, slugging, and you know.
And then they become this crazy like assassin.
It became such a whole thing because it was like you'd see the sun go down and like these lights coming on like buildings, and you're like, fuck, I have to get home. And it like, you know, it was such a like an anxiety. Oh, it was so cool. But they had different zombies coming out at night. Like all the zombies would run. They wouldn't walk anymore. Not a single one would walk. They would all run. Then they had these ones that were like hunters, and they had these big ass like jowls and stuff, and they were fucking Terminators. And you literally, dude, it was horrifying. They'd be chasing you, and they had this one mechanic where you could run and hit like triangle, and like the camera would slow down and like look behind you, and you could see like all of the zombies that were chasing you, and then you would look back and you'd be like, I'm not doing that again. This shit was so cool. I love that game.
Game sounds good.
Oh, it was so fun, dude. And the second one was good too.
Have you played State of Decay?
Yes. And I do like State. I wish we had more zombie games like that.
Dude, me too.
Because you would you'd find some survivors.
Yeah.
And then
you create a little village of people,
little camp, I guess. And then,
because you could be all of them.
You could be every single one.
Yep.
You'd have to control their morale, their food, water, all that. You'd have to stock them up with.
It's like Sims with zombies.
And the crazy thing about it though is that if one of your characters died, they would be given a brutal death, and they would be dead. That's it. That playthrough, that survivor is dead.
And if they had good shit, sucks, man. Tell us about your story.
Dude. So the first State of Decay, I remember I actually was thriving. Like my camp was so sick. And I remember it all started with this one thing. I had one girl. I'm not gonna lie, she was bad as hell. She had like yoga pants on with like a yellow jacket. I still remember this shit. Like I was like, I love it. This is my girl. Like I'm riding with her. She was like my main survivor. And I went out one night, and they had this mechanic where when you search stuff, you can either hold L1 or whatever to make it go faster to like search the whole thing. You know, this little meter.
Like a quick search.
Yeah. And then otherwise you could just let it go. And honest to God, I had cleared out all of the infections like around me and stuff. And I was like, okay, I should be chilling. So I was fast searching all of this shit. And then it got to this point where I was in a garage, and bro, I fucking held it down, and it made a loud crash sound. And then these zombies I don't know where the fuck they came from.
In that moment, you're like,
Everywhere.
oh, fuck.
They were breaking down the barriers and shit. And I literally was looking around and I was like, I just had a crowbar because I was just going out for like a scouting mission. So I was like, oh my God, like I'm fucked. And I was like, this is my girl too. I can't lose her. I was like, oh no. So they're breaking in and shit. I'm just like, fuck it. I'm like, here we go. It literally felt like a last stand. Yeah. And I was like, fuck it. And I was like, just beating the shit out of these zombies. And then it got me. That was my first survivor I lost. And bro,
morale gone.
I didn't know about the little like cutscenes. I died. They like pinned me down and like 2 of the zombies grabbed her from like the shoulders and then the other 2 from like the legs and literally just ripped her apart, like intestines everywhere. And I was like, I didn't just lose my survivor. Like I saw her get mauled, dude. Oh, it was so sad. And then literally after that,
you're just watching it like, what the hell?
Yeah. And I was trying to get, all my other survivors, like kind of the morale was just low as shit after that. And I ended up,
they're like, where's Maria? She didn't come back.
I think I quit the game after because I literally had 2 survivors left and their morale was so low. One of them was, I can't remember if he did something.
Just turning on each other.
He was threatening to leave or kill himself or something. And I can't remember. And I just sat there and I was like, if I only have 1 survivor left, like I'm fucking done. I'm just like, I'm quitting this fucking game. I'm not doing this shit.
They made the game so good and so hard that Cal got pissed.
I got so upset because I had such a thriving village. But yes, I think that's a cool idea though, of like being able to create a camp and, go out, scavenge for supplies and things like that. I mean, it's super Walking Dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it felt just like The Walking Dead. And then losing a survivor. Yeah, and like, like that's it. You kind of build this like I like this survivor, I don't like this one, I like this one, and it's kind of like it is like The Walking Dead.
You got favoritism in the game.
Yeah, you do. You totally have favoritism. Definitely, mine was because that girl was hot as shit, and she got fucking destroyed, bro. I felt so. I remember I had trouble sleeping that night. I was like, fuck, man, I lost her. I remember I was trying to like figure out if I could like go back to an earlier save or something. You can't. It's just, that's it. It's over. So.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Did you ever play the Walking Dead game?
Like the Telltale one?
Yeah.
Where it was like a story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You did? It was good?
It was so good.
Really?
Oh, so good. The Telltale games for me are kind of...
Because it came out after the show, right?
He was like mid.
Yeah.
Like mid show. Like
after it premiered and stuff, right?
Yeah, it was just based on... That was based on the comics.
Mm.
But it had like new characters and stuff.
Wasn't this one the one that was cartoony?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was story based. So, you would just be given like quick time decisions or certain time, you're pretty much just playing through a movie.
Right.
That's what Telltale does. And, those games are not for everybody, but I remember playing through it and whoever they had as the storytellers for that game, whoever wrote the scripts and stuff, they killed that shit because it was good.
Yeah, I never played it, but I kind of figured you had.
Yeah, anything zombie related, I've pretty much played, watched, whatever. I do like zombies. I think they're.
Yeah, I know. When we were watching The Last of Us, he goes, "Oh, just wait, this episode's crazy." I'm like, Cal, shut up.
Well, yeah, because they. Well, I guess you can say
The
Last of Us did go through pretty much what the first game was.
I know.
That's why I was just
like, man,
excited for
just watch it.
For those of you who have played The Last of Us Part 2, we know what's gonna fucking suck.
You also said
they don't.
You also said don't play the game, just watch the show because it's very similar.
Do you do any golfing? You golf, right? You like to golf?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's what I deal with on a daily basis.
I hope to God that we have somebody in the chat who's just like, bro, when Cal said, "Do you like golfing?" Fuck.
I'm sure that's a later thing. I'll probably forget about it. I'll be like, Jake, remember that?
Remember that episode when I said, "Do you like to golf?" Crazy.
Every day.
I don't know. You'll know. But
zombies are iconic.
Zombies are an iconic thing. I don't know if we'll ever get real zombies, but it is crazy that there's a fungus out there that's taking over little insects and shit. That is wild.
Shit. I mean, do you remember when that deer was like in a zombie-like state?
Oh, yeah.
Like that picture
the zombie
video?
Deer.
Yeah. That was crazy. Like, this can happen to you. Now, that was maybe a little stretched, but still interesting, nonetheless.
There was one instance, I think back in 2012 or something. It was like kind of in the height of The Walking Dead. And there was I think it was a girl or something. It was in Florida, I believe, or somewhere in the South.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on a highway, and a person got like naked or something. They were running down the road, and they ended up biting the face off of like 3 different people.
Was that not the bath salts thing?
Was it bath salts?
I think someone got high in Florida on bath salts and started eating people's faces.
Okay, well, that's probably what that was. But basically,
crazy shit.
I remember at the beginning, everybody was like, these are zombies. Like, that's a zombie. That's fucking great. And then obviously, it turned out to be just a person on hella drugs, but
still wild.
Jesus, dude. Yeah, imagine you're just chilling, walking down the street, and somebody runs up to you and just starts biting your face.
This is a good lesson on always stay alert.
Yeah, definitely always stay alert, man.
You never know what people are going to do.
Key takeaway from today's episode. Stay alert. Stranger danger. Don't take things from strangers.
When you think you're safe, you're probably not.
Just, what's the movie theater thing? If you see any suspicious characters, please alert the staff and move to the nearest exit.
Board up your doors, your windows.
Zombies?
The apocalypse is coming. I'm just kidding.
I hope not.
I'm just thinking Call of Duty zombies, you board up the windows.
Oh, that actually reminds me. There was a funny ass I think it was a TikTok. I just saw it on Instagram, but it was when 2020 was going through all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like me waking up in July. There was like always something bad that happened every month in 2020. And then there was like waking up on July 1st in 2020, and it was a dude just chilling, and all of a sudden you hear the fetch me their souls, and the guy's like, oh fuck, and he starts like I'm like, yeah, that was how that year was going, so that's for sure.
Max ammo.
Yeah.
Best round of zombies.
Max ammo.
Yeah. I loved getting dogs.
Sometimes it'd be much needed. Dude.
What a great game. What a great series. And I'm excited to see they're bringing round-based zombies back, so.
Yeah, we'll see how it is with the new Omni movement and stuff, but.
Yeah, that looks wild.
Yeah. All right, well, this is, you got any final thoughts?
Zombies are sick. I hope, I kind of hope, with this little hiatus that they've kind of been on, I hope someone picks it back up.
Oh, God, we're not done yet. We're not done yet.
I just triggered a thought in both of our heads.
You completely got me on that one. Totally forgot about that.
Well, yeah, we forgot.
One big movie that came out that kind of helped a lot was my boy Thomas Shelby. Peaky Blinders.
True.
Cillian Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
28 Days Later. Really, that's a good one.
True. And
28 weeks later came out a little bit after that, and that had Rose Byrne and Jeremy Renner in that one.
And now,
like 14 years later,
28 years later,
and yeah, that's gonna be fucking sick, dude.
When does that come out?
Next March or next June or something.
Oh,
I think they're doing 2 more after that. We are going to have a 28 later
deep dive.
Call it like the franchise 28 later.
I'm 28.
29? 29? No.
Yeah, we're definitely going to deep dive those.
We're going to have a deep dive
that series
next year. So probably next season. So
that franchise.
Get ready for that. But yeah, I was like, damn, bro, we have to talk about fucking 28 Days Later.
I know, dude. I was like completely spaced it.
Nah, we'll talk about that in the next one, but we want to talk about we want to, I guess, acknowledge that was a pretty big deal.
Right. People in the comments are just like, these motherfuckers forgot this movie that's coming out.
Yeah. Well, just get to the end of the episode. We do talk about it. So
yeah, very true. Well, very true. Well, appreciate coming to our little zombie talk.
Yeah, it was fun. I like zombies. So
zombies are cool. And they've just, put such a big slap on today's pop culture.
Yeah, the horror genre for sure. A lot of zombie. I mean, Evil Dead, right? Deadites count as zombies.
Yep, exactly.
Things like that. So zombies are cool. It's something that a lot of people I feel like can get creative with as long as it's just somebody who's risen from the dead and eats people.
Yep.
And you can get free with how the virus starts, things like that, and then dating back to the actual origins of what really is zombies. And it's crazy. It's crazy that it has come such a far way. And also, if you're into voodoo stuff, please inform us how that works.
Yeah. Genuinely curious.
It's pretty cool. We would like to know. Maybe you'll be on the pod one day. We'll see. But that'd be fun.
Hit us up.
We'll get a third mic. It'll be all good.
We do plan on having guests soon. So
yes, season 2, we were planning on having a few guests. So
get ready. It's going to be a fun ride.
Yes. All right.
Well, let's end this shit.
All right. Well, in the words of Cranberries, the Cranberries, in your head, zombie.
Thanks for listening to this chilling episode of The Supernaturals. For your protection, make sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And stay tuned for the next episode.